Mr. David Langston, a Shreveport resident, is the official
Patient X.
So you're Patient X, Patient Zero, as far as coronavirus goes for Caddo Parish, and maybe the first in Louisiana, if that's something you want, if that's a medal you want to wear. So you're home from the hospital and you're feeling better after just a few days, and everything kind of gets cleared up, but you still have a concern about the number of people that you may have exposed. Tell us about that, and tell us what the number turned out to be.
Okay, yeah. So when they sent me home, the CDC called, and I quickly gave them a list of meetings and events that I went to, and they wrote it all down and did a very thorough job of contacting everybody. There was isolation for quarantining for the people I came in contact with, the ones where they would say it was definite possible contact, and so nobody that I came in close contact with during those meetings or any events got it. The only people that got it were my wife, and this thing's like clockwork. When you get exposed, it at least in most cases, about 4 or 5 days later, the symptoms show up. So she got exposed to me when she drove me to the emergency room, because about 4 or 5 days later, she had some symptoms. But so it was her, and then two of my close friends, one of them being Deputy Kevin Calhoun, and another fellow that I won't say his name for privacy reasons, but we're real close, and we eat out all the time together. Kevin and this other guy and their wives and my wife, we eat out a lot together, and also we attended Mardi Gras together.
So compared to your symptoms,
not Mardi Gras, New Orleans, here.
No.
Compared to your case, were their symptoms more severe? Were they more mild? How did that work out for them?
Kevin's, he'll tell you to this day, Kevin was the other guy that you'll probably hear about this in just a second, but we donated some plasma to help somebody. But his symptoms, he didn't even really want to get tested, and we convinced him, Kevin, you need to go get tested. He did, and he was, I think, kind of shocked in a way that he was positive. And so the other guy, my other friend, he probably had it worse than me, and he was in the hospital, and actually when I got out of the hospital, he ended up in the same ICU room that I was in because it's special ventilation. But yeah, he probably had it just a little bit worse than me, I would say.
All are okay now?
Everybody's okay now. Everybody's great.
Okay, let's talk about the plasma donation, because that is going to save lives, and we don't know how many yet. But it came up that your plasma in your blood, which now has the antibodies for coronavirus, can help others. How did it come about that you could be a donor and you could help?
Well, this is what happened. First of all, it's very much a silver lining, and I'm not a hero. This is something that is a no-brainer. And when I was called by the doctor to see if I would make this donation, I said where and when, and for sure I would, and so they had to test me to make sure I was actually negative, and I am. There's no more coronavirus in my system. And so when this doctor called me and said that she would like to see if I could donate to help her husband, as a matter of fact, who was in critical condition. I mean, she was there for me through my experience and using me to learn things. And if other people, other men that get this, step up to the plate, and once you're well, like me, this technology appears to be that it's going to be working. And
we're talking about Dr. Martha White's husband, because she said that on the radio yesterday, that this plasma, at least a portion of it, was used for her husband.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name, but if she made it publicly known. She said
it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she was the one, and that lady is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't know how she's getting any rest, but she was there for me. She was there for my family. And there was a lot of people there for my family. That's something else I want to mention real quick. When I came home, we didn't have time to prepare for this, and we had friends like Sherry Aiello and neighbors across the street and others. Just so many friends came and dropped off food, and of course they kept their distance. And that was so supportive. It was unbelievable, and the kind words and the calls. And but anyway, back to Dr. White. I mean, when she called me, I had already told her back when I was still, getting over this. I said, hey, when this is all over, if they need my antibodies or if you need to, call me about timelines or anything, just let me know. And so when I got the call from her and she said she needed it for her husband, I just about fell out on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, of all people, here's a woman leading the charge, and now she's got the pressure of her husband. And I said, yeah, tell me where you need me to do this. So they sent me to the Willis-Knighton Hospital to get retested. And when it came back negative, the doctor that was coordinating this called me and said, okay, can you go to Life Share Blood Center and at 10 o'clock on Saturday, that was last Saturday, and donate the plasma. I said, I'll be right there.
Now wait, your blood type had to match her husband's blood type, and a God thing stepped in, right?
Yeah, I'm an A positive, and my buddy Kevin, who I also infected, he volunteered. He called him up and said, hey, I'm there if y'all need to do it. So he fortunately he had called in because my other friend that I infected, he went with me for the test, and his still came back positive because there's a residual RNA. I'm not a doctor, but there's some kind of residual RNA, and a doctor explained it to me sort of like a sandstorm. You don't go outside in a sandstorm because it can kill you, and it's a bad deal. Whenever the sandstorm's gone, what's left is the remnants of dust and sand, and that's kind of how the RNA is. It's a non-active part of the virus that can't contaminate anybody, but you can still see the remnants of it in a test that, hey, yeah, you're positive. So even though you're not contagious, it's still positive, and they want you to be totally negative before they can do the plasma removal.
But your blood matched Dr. White's husband's blood. Your blood type, correct?
That's what I was told by her. Yes, that our blood type matched, so he was able to accept my plasma, and I've heard from her that there's been some improvement.
Wow.
Little steps of improvement. So let's hope that it helps.
I would be thinking at the end, pardon me, David, I would be thinking, because we got to wrap up here, I would be thinking at the end of all this, if nothing else, you are probably going to get your wife the greatest birthday, anniversary, Christmas gifts in the history of marriagedom. I'm not too far off the mark there, am I?
No, because I'm telling you, my wife has been incredible. I mean, here we are cooped up and staying isolated, and she's been... She actually volunteered to give the plasma too. That's the kind of person she is. But they said, well, it's a little more complicated with women on the donations for plasma. There's an extra test.
Ain't it always? So. Yeah.
Hey, you boys, y'all stop that. David, I can't tell you how grateful I am to you for you and I've been communicating for several weeks now, and for you agreeing to tell your story. Let's stay in touch, bud. I want to meet you in person one day and give you a hug.
Oh, I'd love that. And let me tell you, I've already met Robert a few times out at restaurants because he likes eating out too. And Robert, my brother-in-law was the one that had that went to Colgate, and that may refresh your memory.
It does, in fact, yes.
Yeah, that's me, and I sang happy birthday to you a couple of years ago on the air.
Oh, wow. David, thanks so much for your time, and give our best to your wife too, please.
Oh, I will. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for
a pleasure, David. Thank you.